Welcome, everybody. It is your host, Jay Klein, and we're back for another episode of Anime Talks. So, it has been super crazy on how long it took me to cover this, but we are finally done with the first series of Bleach. Like, come on, let's get that. Let's go. We finally got there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's been pretty enjoyable. It was a long, bittersweet like ending because I watched this at the beginning of 2023 basically, and I spent a lot of Crawfish season watching like a few episodes here and there and just getting it. It's been really fun. Like I really enjoyed myself being able to indulge in such heavy anime that, for one, I'll go ahead and get this out the way. This has been the longest running anime I've seen for myself personally. I've not dug deep into Bleach. I haven't messed with any of that stuff. So with that being said, here we are getting like all 366 episodes of Bleach. So we're going to do things a little different. This is going to be more like a Bleach review, and of what I can kind of remember, this is going to be off of the top. Definitely, please don't crucify me. I'm doing this strictly off of just watching it and going to try to remember as much as possible. We're not going to do arc by arc. We're going to do like overarching arcs where it's like consolidated all in between. Our previous episode was on the Sosuke Aizen review of how I believe he's like one of the most beautifully crafted like antagonists ever. Like he has the most intertwined and interwebbed, like he's just awesome. Like you just can't beat how they crafted him. The fight with him at the end was horrible with him and Ichigo, because Ichigo just like final Getsuga showed his butt, but yeah, it's, for those who watched it, that fight was so lackluster. Granted, we did get to see the really cool transformation, but anywho, time to get down to the nitty gritty. So we're going to be covering each arc as they appear, whether it be overarching arcs or however. That is how we will do it. I do have a list pulled up and we'll be reading it off, and we'll do like a slight review of or my opinion of how that went. So let's get started. Thank you. So at the beginning, we do have the first arc is named Agent of Shinigami arc. I imagine the agent of the Soul Reaper. I'm pretty sure Shinigami translates to Soul Reaper. We're reading this directly from it. We're just gonna put it. We're just gonna just type it in, just so we can like get that. Yeah, okay. Kami of Death, Shinigami, Kami of Death, Kami that invite humans toward death. So yes, Soul Reaper or a Reaper. This is where we get introduced to Ichigo, his classmates, and we get to meet Rukia, and then we see the strange things happening to Ichigo, and this is where he gets his powers. There's not really much there, like just he's doing his thing. We have a couple filler episodes here and there, and I'd have to say it was very like, okay, when I first started watching Bleach, it was very tough. I watched this like maybe a few years ago. I went to give it like a little whirl, and I tried to watch one episode. It was not for me. It was not my thing. I was really not excited. The artwork wasn't for me. One of my best friends from high school, childhood friend, he reached out to me, and we were talking about animes one day, and he was like, "Hey man, you really need to watch. You need to give Bleach a try." I was like, "Dude, I did, and it definitely was not for me." And he was like, you got it. Just watch it. It's one of my favorite animes. And one thing that's kind of tough to like get across for anime people, there's different animes that certain people like and what they're looking for, whether it be different art styles, different breakdowns in the elements, all that stuff. It's kind of tough to like really recommend anime to another person who avidly watches anime. It's so much easier to recommend anime to somebody else who is like not really into anime, because then that's how they learn what they're into, and you know it just spirals in. So enough of that tangent. Time to get back. So that little spot within that arc, you know, we just get the basic introduction, and we just get like the base cast, and then you know that's kind of where that goes with that. So the next two, we're gonna go ahead and combine them together. The second and third arcs, and then we have like a little small breakdown where like it doesn't really go too far out, where it is the Soul Society sneak entry arc, and then the Soul Society the rescue arc. So this is where we really get down to like the rest of the base cast, really. Like you know, we meet all the rest of the captains. This is where we've already, like towards the end, we've already met Ikaku. No, we didn't meet Ikaku yet. We met Renji and Renji's captain, which is Byakuya. So we met the Captain Kuchiki, and like we were able to see these things developed, which led to this rescue, the sneaking in to go get Rukia back. That's kind of how all that went down, and like it was this is also when we ran into Sosuke Aizen, and we seen his nefarious deeds start to really kind of carry out, where we're like starting to question his character, because he's like, this is his interaction with Momo and like everything with the Ryoka, which is Ichigo and all them getting in and entering, and then there's like war in the Serete, and like it's like a lot of stuff going on, and it's really, really good. Do not sleep on how good this is. This is such a beautifully crafted section right here. Soul Society arcs are just great. They're great. They're just great. Like, just believe me, watch it. It's awesome. I guess just a small coverage of the sneak entry arc. This is after Rukia is returned back. Ichigo goes with Orihime and Chad. Pretty sure they met Chad by this point. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's okay. There's just so much going on in my head with this show, and this is going to be is going to be as detailed as possible, but it's going to be off of memory, because I try to stay away from these podcasts being super scripted. They're going into the Soul Society to be able to get Rukia back, or to save Rukia, because her punishment is there by death at on the little Soul Hill. I don't want to be wrong. It's like it has to like do with like the Hogyoku and like all kinds of other stuff, but they're about to sacrifice her. That's point blank what is going to happen. And then Captain Coochie's like just really not giving like a care that his sister's about to be punished and all that good stuff. You know, it's sad. It's very sad, but it's what happens. So the rescue arc follows with them saving her and completely getting that situation rectified and taken care of. It's pretty awesome how everything goes down, where we see like the betrayal, all that stuff. Everything happens during this that leads into the problem that we have with this show, or the problem I have with the show. So, the rescue arc, it's crazy. We see everything go downhill. Like we see Sosuke, Gin, and Tosin, like just go AWOL and leave with the Hogyoku, and just everything we see, like the little, we just kind of see everything develop, and then this is where I'd have to say, for those who like to do the skip arounds within like a show and like pass up like meaningless arcs, this is the time where you go ahead and look this up and skip the stuff that really doesn't matter. But for me, it all matters. It all matters. Do not, don't do it. So just watch it all. It's what it was meant to be. So now that was 2 and 3, but they're both Soul Society arcs. So now let's move on to our next. Technically, it's in like the third arc, but they're like bullet pointed arcs. So let's get there. Let's see what we have. And the 3.1 and 3.2 section, we do have the Bount arcs. This is when we meet vampire-like activity, where they're sucking the essence out of people and like basically making it where like they're just, like, you know what I'm getting at with that. So it's crazy on how all that panned out. Like, it's not really, I don't know. It's very weird. Like, there's just a lot of stuff going on here where we see a lot of different activity, a lot of different things, and we mainly see the introduction of these new enemies that like have really special abilities, and they're tied to a being or element with certain different powers, and I don't want to be wrong, so let's go grab the guy's name. Main Bount. Let's see. Like it's a horrible. Overall, the arcs were bad. That arc was bad, but we had Gene Kadia. He was the main facilitator of that arc. He was like the main antagonist, where he was just trying to go ahead and like just they were part of the war with the Bounts, were part of the war with the Soul Reapers against the Quincy's. Well, the Bounts were then end up getting like knocked off like really bad. They just, it's bad. Like, it's really not, I really don't like how they did it, but like they really got the shorter end of the staff, like, because they end up getting hunted, and then they lived in isolation, and then they banded up together to get together to take down the Soul Society, which that arc, once again, it was very lackluster for some. I watched it all because, it's the first time watching. You can't skip stuff like that just to skip it. You got to have really, really good reasons to just skip these kind of things. But their main things were within their dolls, and that was their version of their Zanpakutos, toes, and they were able to, it was good. It was good. Like, you really can't move too far away from how they conducted that. It was just something small. I imagine that they were trying to hurry up, catch up on some other things. It just, there's a lot of things like in between that. But Gene Kadia, he ends up getting knocked off at the end, and it's it's sad, unfortunately, but still beautifully crafted. It's still something to watch if you're down to watch everything in its entirety. That was the Bound arc where they were just at 3.1, 3.2. That is them handling business and getting in, getting out, and that's kind of where we're at with that. So, please definitely don't skip it. Don't skip it. It's worth the watch. I'm sorry. Like it's really it's all part of it. Like definitely don't let it go. It's awesome. Like definitely don't skip out on something like that. And just at some point, if you end up watching it, this is like completely just it's a very side, like weak arc there. It doesn't like gauge over, like branch over into nothing else. So you're more than welcome to skip it as well. So as we move forward, we will be getting on to the next arc, which this one we'll put it all together. 4, 5, and 6, they are all Arankar arcs. So we're gonna jump into that, but to do like a small little jump back. We were very much so I forgot to mention that in the Soul Society arcs, this is definitely the time where we found where Ichigo learned his Bankai, and he does know of the hollow powers he has in him. So definitely be like that. That's something that's gonna come out a little later. So just be prepared to see what we have next. So the Arankar arc, that is where we're gonna fade off to next. So let's get moving. So we're in the Arankar arc. This is very, very crazy. We see a lot of different things within the Arankar arc. In the Arankar arc, we have Ichigo and everybody to like they're trying to get their forces together because now it's time to go to Waco Mundo to take care of Sosuke Aizen. Excuse me. Take care of Sosuke Aizen because that is where he has fled off to his castle in Waco Mundo. And also this is when we meet the we met a lot of different things here. We met the technically the forced situation where we met people that were like Ichigo as well. They are considered the Vizards, where we met Shinji and a lot of other Vizards as well. The Vizards, all of these were actually members of the Gote 13, which is the 13 court guards, by the way. They were part of it, whether it be lieutenants and captains. They were just all in there. In this section, because we're combining them all instead of just saying 4, 5, and 6. We also have one of the biggest things that has happened along the way, where Orihime, Uryu, and Chad all learn different things to become a little bit stronger. They've learned some things in preparation for all this, and we end up having another antagonist that's kind of like main antagonist, which is Ukiura, which is one of, I want to say he's number 4 for the Espadas. Really, really crazy thing is going on there. He ends up getting a hold of Orihime, which is one of the big turning points of the show, or in this section. He takes and kidnaps Orihime, and brings Orihime back to Aizen, and and they keep her withheld there, and that's really what makes it to where everybody's like moving forward towards this. So you have Uryu, Chad, Ichigo, Renji, and Rukia heading to Wekumundo to get Orihime during most of this, and we also in this section in these arcs here we witness the crazy battle of Ichigo and Grimmjow. That was one of the craziest fights in this section that happened before the Ichigo and Ukiura fight. Like it's very, very, very entertaining on how all these fights happen, all these backstories of all these different espadas and just everything in between. It's great. It's once again beautifully crafted. Beautifully crafted. Like it's just amazing. So during all this, we're learning a lot of different things about each different espada and all the different fights that are occurring between espada's captains and everything that's getting up until we meet the very messed up, abrupt, just sidetrack thing. It's just disturbing. It's I want to cry. I want to cry because this is what we ran into here. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna do our little thing where we phase over because I'm going to have to hurt everybody's feelings with this part of the review. Let's make it. So in the 6th arc, it is called the New Captain Shusuke Amagai arc. So it was crappy, like really crappy. And this is technically part of the Oranka arc. It's very, very side. It's crappy. It's crap. So you have this guy who takes Gein's spot, and it is just blah. It's ridiculous. But in this arc, we do meet a character that returns a little bit later. We have Rurichio, Kasumiyoji. Yeah, Kasumiyoji. And then we meet Kinryu and Inryu. These are her servants. We meet them. It's like a little, this is all side stuff. It's awesome. It's still good to watch. Not much happens. You just see a lot of different things with them. You see them trying to do, you see a lot of different things. Like I said, these are smaller arcs that really just are really side filler arcs, worth watching. You do see the betrayal of this new captain that they did put in charge and all that, and then we do see a lot of other betrayal that's going on within the Kasumiyoji clan through one of their advisors, which is trying to take over one of the grand families, and it's a lot. It's very short, sweet, still good, worth watching. You see some good fighting here and there. It's just a lot of filler. We're gonna move to our 7th arc. Let's go. So in this one, this is called the past arc. This is our number 7 arc. And it's very interesting on how this goes. In this, in the turn, and it's called Turn Back the Pendulum. I can't ever forget that. This is when we go back in time, where we go back, and it is awesome what we see here. We actually see Kisuke Urahara as part of the Gotei 13. He is crazy. This is like 1,000 years prior, where we see all the Vizards play their role within the Gote 13 as captains and lieutenants. And then we see Kisuke Urahara, and we see Sosuke Aizen do his original, his dirty work. We see the dirty work, and it is freaking nuts. It's nuts. It's worth watching. Go check it out. It's just like one of my most goosebumpish rides ever watching this arc. It's a mini arc worth watching. It's like a bunch of WTF moments. It is worth it. Please go watch this. Like, skipping this is horrible. It has a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff that you'll be able to see that kind of ties everything in together to see who, what, when, why, what the Hogyoku was used for, and everything that's leading up until later arcs. So please check this out. You get to see Shinji and the rest of the Vizards be turned into hollows at this time by the efforts of Sosuke Aizen. And then that's when you see how Kisuke became Hat and Clog, where he's now doing his own little thing, where he's running his shop and the world of the living. And there's more stuff we find out later. It's crazy because I just got done watching it. So there's a lot of stuff that we find out. So this is, once again, very, very good to watch. Don't skip it. Let's move to the 8th arc. In the 8th arc, we have the Battle of Katakura arc. This is when we see another evolution step of Ichigo's hollow abilities with his mask, because he has at this point trained with the Vizards and be able to get to another level of his hollow abilities. And also in this, we did see where Ukiura was taken down by an enraged Ichigo. It is crazy. He goes like almost full, like a crazy evolution of his hollow abilities, and he just like brutally murders Ukiura. Like, it is crazy. It is crazy. So during this time, we end up seeing like all the different fights that are going on between still captains and the remaining Espada, and then you also see a lot of stuff between Oba and Yama. There's a lot of stuff going on there as well. It's crazy. It's still crazy. It's everything. You see everything go down and break down, and we see a lot of things materializing at this point. So it's still worth watching. Still worth watching. But before we get to that, there is this is also when we find out that there's another level of life that has to happen for Ichigo before he's able to completely defeat Aizen. We learn that all in this. A lot of stuff going on. Ukiura is now gone. A lot of these Espadas are wasted at this point. So, and then that's another thing. The Espadas are very, very, very wholesome. We learned a lot about them over this time. I do apologize for not even going back and dropping names on who, what, when, and where, and why. But it's still good. Just go watch the show. It's great. Now let's get on to the 9th arc. in the ninth arc, we have the Zanpakuto Unknown Tales arc. I actually like to call this, what is this called? Technically, the the uh, the Sword Beast arc. I want to say Sword Beast. That's what I call it. Well, these are the Zanpakutos of dead Soul Reapers that turn into crazy, like just goes wild, and they're all done by Muramasa. He This is crazy. I'm telling you, it's crazy. I'm gonna go ahead and just jump in, jump out, and just say this arc was really good for a little side arc. It is an anime exclusive. It is not in the manga. Definitely check this out. It's great. We learn a lot of different things about the materializing of said Zanpakutos. You see all the fan favorites, all their Zanpakutos in like the most materialized form that they can have, and they played parts so good. They did really well. Really like very well crafted, very good. I enjoyed it. Another thing, during this, we end up seeing that Muramasa is also in his Soul Reaper was part of the Kuchiki clan. He was adopted into the Kuchiki clan. And during this, we witness the slight betrayal of Captain Kuchiki. We're like, I'm super nervous during watching that, because I'm like, man, Byakuya is tripping. Like, he's really like just turned on everybody. Well, come to find out, he did this just to be able to save the honor of the Kuchiki clan. He wanted to be the one to end the Kuchiki adopted member, who technically was just only sealed away that long ago because of how much power he had and how strong his Zanpakuto was. Once again, still good to watch. Just watch it. It's great. I enjoyed it. It's really awesome. You just gotta love it all. So in the 10th arc, we have the downfall arc, and then the Gote 13 invading army arc. So that's what we will be covering next. So in this arc, it's also exclusive to the anime as well. And it is crazy. This is when we see the crazy change up of, we see Kagerosa Inaba, who has been serving under Captain Kurotsuchi for a long time, and he really didn't know that all this was happening. But what is so crazy is that he's a mod soul the whole time. He's basically Kon, the mod soul that was from a previous arc, almost at the beginning of the show. There's so much stuff that is going on here, but we got introduced to Nozomi, a little, I guess you say, naked girl who falls from out of one of the gates. I can't remember what it's called now. The Sengaimon? Is it Sengaimon? Am I right? Senkaimon. I was close. The Senkaimon. So she came out of Senkaimon, fell out, and this is while she was escaping from the precipice world. Then we find out that the creator is actually Yushima, who splits himself into two mod souls, which was Nozomi Kujo and Kagerosa Inaba. And then, while this is all going on, he gets Ray guys made of all the captains and lieutenants of the Gote 13. And it is crazy. It is crazy. Like how all this goes. Like this was by far one of my favorites. One of my favorites out of it all, because you just didn't know who was attacking who. It was like an endless amounts of Ray Guy. Just it was great. I enjoyed it. I got too much excitement because I just got done watching this. Basically, it was all worth it. I enjoyed it. Definitely check it out. The Yushima wanted to destroy the Soul Society because they destroyed his mod soul little deal he had going on. And that was that's really what changed everything at this point. Was the whole for him, he wanted to take revenge for nobody noticing him. He was beforehand Yushima, he just wasn't strong enough to harness the power of his Zanpakuto. So when he split himself into two mod souls to then get back together and merge to make an even more power Yushima, that Yushima was going to be strong enough to be able to wield full capabilities of said Zanpakuto. But of course, you know, the way the plot always falls, Ichigo comes back and just completely obliterates this invading force. So once again, another good, amazing arc. I enjoyed it. Definitely get into it. It's great. Just check it out. Now we will be moving to the technically the last arc before the 1,000-year Blood War arc, which is still technically just continuing Bleach, but it's its own separate show when you're like looking on Hulu or anything. So let's get there. This is going to be called The Last Substitute Soul Reaper arc. In the Last Substitute Soul Reaper arc, we end up seeing a lot of different things. We're now about a year and a half out from the defeating Aizen, and Ichigo is already losing his powers from the Aizen fight. It is crazy on how all that's going. We then meet who is the we meet Kujo. I can't remember his is it Kujo or Kugo Bleach? Ginjo, sorry, Kugo Ginjo, which is the first substitute Soul Reaper. And we learn about a lot of different things. He comes and fools Ichigo into joining. It's a big misconception throughout all this. I was fooled. Be ready to be fooled. It's crazy. So we end up meeting these humans with special powers, which is we end up learning Full Bring. That's the name of that set of powers. And Ichigo is able to bring out those powers because at this point in time, he loses all. At this time, by the way they worded it, he lost all of his Soul Reaper powers. Just keep that in mind. He ends up having all these things happen around him where they're just damaging everybody around him. So he feels like he's not able to protect anybody. And in this, he decides to call Execution, which was Kugo Ginjo, and ends up training to regain his Shinigami powers to be able to have everything ready to be able to defend all of his friends. This is by far one of my favorites because For one, it was it was updated. The fights are updated. Everything's updated, like close enough for the Thousand Year Blood War arc that's currently airing. This is by far beautiful. Is crafted really nice. All the animations are updated. The fights are great in this arc. So in this arc, we also learn a couple other things where the combat pass, we learn the real meaning of the combat pass is the way for the Soul Society to actually spy on the substitute Soul Reaper in hopes that if something was to go wrong, they could send somebody out and actually eliminate the substitute Soul Reaper. And then come to find out, Kugo Ginjo is actually a bad guy. Everything was twisted up. One of his followers, who definitely he made it seem like Tsukishima. He tried to make it look like the guy was bad, but really he was bad, and his sword made it aware. His Fullbring made it called Book of the End he made it aware he can be able to change memories of everybody and insert himself here, all kinds of stuff. Just basically change people's mental. And it was crazy. The whole thing was good. The whole thing was good. I really can't be mad at how they did it. They executed it well. I found like this was not a bad way to wrap it up. But at the end, you do have Ginjo, who did take the powers after all that work that led up to this. Ginjo took all the powers from Ichigo and is about to slay him right then and there. And just in time, Rukia comes with the sword. Also, just a heads up, this is also, once again, almost 17 months, a year and a half after the Aizen fight. So we see a lot of different changes with everybody. For one, a lot of the transformations, their clothing, a lot of different aesthetics, cosmetic aesthetics, of course, are all changed. You see in older Yuzu and Karin, you see a lot of different developments of Iruru and the boy, I can't remember him. He's such a little bad kid in the show. You see a lot of these you see the time skip of everybody getting bigger and older. We also see more of a more mature Orihime, Chad, and Uryu. You just see they've developed so much in this time frame. And at the end here, you do see Rukia, after she disappeared, after he lost his powers towards the end of the last arc and the opening of this one, you see Rukia comes back and stabs Ichigo with the sword to be able to give him all his powers back that was shared and ordered by old man Yama, to be able to infuse this sword with all the powers from the Gotei 13 to be able to give Ichigo a fighting chance against Ginjo, because technically it was Gotei 13's fault of how Ginjo became and did what he did. So it's their way of paying him back for all this journey that led up until this point. And then we see Ichigo take out Ginjo at the end, and it was bittersweet. I enjoyed this arc so much, and I want to say it's because by this time everything's updated, everything's great, and it's just fun. Everything's just fun and very lively about it. You know, you really just can't be mad at how the development for this took 366 episodes to get to this point. I cannot say enough that this was a wonderful ride, a very wonderful experience. I will not steer away from saying that all this is just really, 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 really fun. Like, I enjoyed Bleach, by far now my one of my top animes. And I collect the pops. I collect the statues, figurines. I did everything's so good about this show that it has definitely won my heart in the top spots. And I do recommend this to anybody who is definitely into finding a longer running anime that's still wholesome, worth watching. Will give you a bunch of kicks, a bunch of laughs, a bunch of suspense. This is the one for you. Definitely check it out. It's worth watching. It's a little bit more updated than trying to watch the old Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z / Kai, and before getting into Super, this is just a very immaculate entertainment situation here that you just can't pass up. And what I will end on here will be the final arc. The final arc is the Thousand Blood Year War arc. This one is Thousand Year Blood War. Sorry, Thousand Year Blood War arc. It is currently airing. There's not much to really say out of this. It's worth checking out. Just go watch it. It's worth all of your time. Go watch it. It's great. I'm only 4 or 5 episodes deep. I'm not going to really say much on this, but just go watch it. It's great. It's been ramped up from the beginning. Cliffhanger every time. I've been wanting to hit the next button to watch the next episode, even though I got like other stuff to tend to. And it's great. It's solid. Everything is just in. Everything is in. So thank you, everybody, for listening to the long awaited Bleach review. This is the Bleach review on Anime Talks by your host, Jay Klein. Thank y'all all for tuning in, listening. Definitely use the questionnaire that's below after listening. Let me know your feedback. Did I miss something that you specifically wanted to hear in this? Or if you're new to Bleach and I maybe offered way too much, definitely let me know. This was a heavy spoiler review here. You just can't dodge it. It's great. Just definitely summed up a lot of different things. Once I got closer to the ending arcs, I was of course I was able to get have a better recollection of everything because they're more recent that I watched them. But this is all together great. It was a great experience. I would like for every one of y'all in the anime community to check this out if you haven't. And if you have, make sure you're sharing this around so other people be able to enjoy. So once again, everybody, thank you.